A two-day conference had Albuquerque Public School administrators mixing business with pleasure in Taos. A lot of pleasure.
Workshops and speeches mixed with video game challenges and dances. Hundreds attended the conference, funded in part by taxpayer dollars. Think it was worth it? Tim Maestas has the inside story in tonight's special assignment.
Taos, the Sagebrush Inn, earlier this month. Undercover video shows part of the Administrators' Conference on Education, hosting hundreds of APS employees, among them Superintendent Winston Brooks and members of the Albuquerque School Board.
From my point of view, it's a great opportunity for me as superintendent to be able to set the stage.
The superintendent says the time and the money spent at the conference was worth it. Administrators spent hours attending breakout sessions, workshops, and listening to speeches like this one from motivational speaker Billy Riggs.
Think back to your childhood.
But a closer look at the itinerary raises questions. For example, 6 hours of day one included a social, a comedy hour, and a dance from 8 p.m. to midnight. Day two included 9 hours of a Wii video game challenge, another social, a roast, and another dance. A total of 15 hours socializing compared to a total of 6 hours actually working during the two-day conference. How much of the time was spent doing actual focused APS work, and how much time was spent sort of having fun?
Well, I think the majority of time from what I participated in was more business. Now, Friday afternoon, that's pretty soft. I'm not going to try to fool anybody about that. But I think they thought, well, it is Friday afternoon. And again, there's nothing wrong with people having a little downtime and doing a little bit of networking.
Brooks points out most of the social activities took place after traditional work hours. And he says part of the benefit of the conference was to allow administrators the chance to get to know him in a more casual environment away from APS headquarters.
I've only been here for a year. Believe it or not, it's hard to break in a superintendent. And so these folks, all these administrators have been walking on eggshells the last year trying to figure out who this new superintendent is.
The itinerary is one thing, the cost is another. $80,000 for the two-day conference. Here's how it all breaks down. APS paid $24,000. The school board kicked in $5,000. $51,000 came from a variety of private organizations and businesses. $6,000 from the New Mexico Educators Federal Credit Union. $5,000 from Pepsi, and another $5,000 from the Technology Integration Group. That name might sound familiar. TIG was the focus of a News 13 Larry Barker investigation that aired last month.
The food is ready, so help yourself.
TIG currently has a multi-million-dollar contract with APS. Over the last couple of years, company officials have thrown a series of lavish parties and appreciation dinners for APS employees. School board president Marty Esquivel told Larry Barker it did not seem appropriate.
When you first heard about these parties given by TIG, what was your immediate reaction?
It caused me a grave concern because any hint of any type of pay-to-play or activity like this really doesn't sit well with our taxpayers. And it demonstrated to me some bad judgment was going on.
According to APS administrators, though, TIG was doing nothing wrong by throwing the parties, and district employees were doing nothing wrong by attending the parties. When it comes to this month's administrators conference in Taos, Superintendent Brooks says sponsors helped make it happen, but he says the contributions will not guarantee preferential treatment.
Am I going to walk away from that saying, oh, since Pepsi-Cola contributed $5,000 to ACE and passed out soft drinks while we were there, that guarantees Pepsi-Cola's business to APS for the rest of eternity? Absolutely not.
The Administrators Conference is an annual event. This year's was the 50th anniversary.
Right or wrong, I think being away from their offices, being away from their homes for a day or two so you could really focus. I mean, I kind of put this into oftentimes people take religious retreats. You don't do a religious retreat in your back room of your office. You do it away someplace.
School board president Marty Esquivel says TIG's partial sponsorship of the Taos Conference is different from the TIG parties because the Taos Conference involved legitimate APS business. Still, he says the school board is reviewing APS policies on sponsorships. Tim Maestas, KRQE News 13.
Now, the story doesn't end there. what happened at the conference that has the superintendent apologizing? Tim Maestas has that part of the story tomorrow night on News 13 at 10.